things into that. Just some things that I've been reading about. Now, remember, I'm going to do the first part in English. I'm going to record it in English, and then I'm going to record it in Spanish. My phone connection here is really not very good, so if I lose you, I'm sorry. So voy a ofrecer reflexión en español después de inglés, okay? All right, so you remember from yesterday, Saint Ita. So she's a saint from Ireland from many, many years ago. She had a group of women that were around her, so it was kind of like a religious order, but maybe not quite that formal. And they started a little school for boys, and many of those boys ended up becoming saints. And so it was really a bastion, really a home of love and of God's presence. Now, yesterday I talked about one of the little boys went to her and said, Saint Ita, or Ita, what is most pleasing to God? And you remember those three things that she said, right? True faith in God with a pure heart, to live a simple life with a grateful spirit, okay? And then also to have generosity inspired by true charity. And you can reflect on those things for a long time. You just think about how those things tie into your life. Now, today, Saint Ita answered a second question. The little boy came to her and said, Saint Ita, what is most displeasing to God? What does God not like the most? And she said three things. Okay, so I'm going to offer a little reflection on those. So the first is, she said, to have a mouth that hates people. To have a mouth that hates people. In other words, what comes out of our mouth is very hateful. It's very prideful. You could think of all those things. Now, I'm going to offer a little thought on that. Is the problem the mouth? Is it the teeth, the tongue? Is it the physical mouth? Absolutely not, right? The problem is not the mouth. It's the mind. It's the mind that generates the thoughts that then come out of the mouth. Now, sometimes people will say, well, I have these really bad thoughts. I look down on people. I'm very prideful. But I don't actually say it. Now, okay, I'd say, well, okay, good. At least there's a filter there. You didn't say the proud thoughts or whatever it may have been, right? But the problem is when we're still thinking hateful things, when we're still looking down on people, when we're still prideful that way, we're not going to say good things, right? Our silence is not going to be rooted in love. It's going to be rooted in our pride or right. So those things. So a mouth that hates people, a mouth that says all kinds of nasty, horrible things. All right, gossip. She's talking about gossip here. All of us need to just catch ourselves on that and to prepare ourselves. I would bet in your life, just like in my life, there's certain people that we tend to gossip with a lot more, right? We know we're going to say things. Now, what is gossip? This is the way I define gossip. Gossip is when we say something that we would not say to that person to their face, right? So we're talking behind their back. That's gossip. When you're talking about really good things, positive things, beautiful things, that you would easily say to that person that you're talking about, that's not gossip, okay? At least in my opinion, that's not gossip. Okay, now, so a mouth that hates people, bad things that come out of the mouth, I would say back it up and think about the mind. The mind that has bad things, and then from that, bring that to Jesus. Now, I struggle, and I know other people struggle with pride, and so my first impulse when somebody does something I don't like, somebody says something that I find hurtful or hurts other people, I begin to hold that against them, right? And so that can later come out as hateful things. Now, that leads us to the second point. The second point, she says, is to have a heart that harbors resentments. Now, I have the water right behind me, right? And there's all kinds of docks. People have docks where they put their boat. Well, if you go a couple miles, 2 miles down, there's Roach Harbor. Roach Harbor is a harbor, right? So if you think of a heart that harbors resentments, it's kind of like a harbor that has all these boats in it that stay there. The boats find safety in a harbor or in a port, right? And so a heart that harbors resentments, it has all these boats of resentment that are parked in there, and they're not going anywhere. So we have to tell them to leave. We have to take those resentments and pick them out and then bring them to Jesus and say, Jesus, help me get rid of that resentment. Help me get rid of that thing I just can't let go of against this person who hurt me or whatever. Now you think of resentments. Resentments actually get passed from generation to generation. Squabbles between families or inside families, in-laws, how we then pass on our resentments to our kids by how we talk about people, right? I come across people who say, you know what, Father, I never thought about becoming Catholic because of what my mom would say about the Catholics. She would say all kinds of bad things about them. And I never had any bad experience of Catholics, but my mom or my dad just hated them, right? So resentments that got passed down to the next generation. I encounter people who many years ago, they got divorced. So they were Catholic, they got divorced. They felt like they were excluded then from the faith. And so then they passed that resentments down to other people. So, okay, that's toxic. It's not good. So to harbor resentments in our heart, it's most displeasing to God. We find them and we root them out. In confession, if somebody's struggling to confess sins, and I'll start throwing things out, I'll say, well, do you have any resentments? Is there anybody in your life you don't love? Sometimes the news, people are watching the news a lot, and they say, well, are there people in the news, politicians, that you don't love? And you say, we have to root out those resentments, right? Okay. Today in the gospel for Mass, you have Saul and Stephen. So Stephen is being killed for being faithful to Jesus. Well, Saul, who will become Paul, is standing there watching him be killed, right? Stephen is saying, Father, forgive them. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. So here's the other part about resentments. Prepare yourself in your prayer, recognizing in the future, someday, somebody is going to try and hurt you. Somebody's going to do something that hurts you. And so like Stephen, it was like he had thought about it. And he said, well, if Jesus on the cross, Jesus says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Stephen is there saying, Lord, help me to be able to do that, so that one day, if I need to, I can forgive them. And then there he is. And I have to believe that part of that was one of the reasons why Saul, who later on would open his heart to become Paul, to become a great disciple. Okay? All right. One last example of this. I'm reading a book right now. So before I came up here, I grabbed a book from our parish library on Padre Pio. And so Padre Pio, when he was very young, there were 2 instances in this book where other kids did really hateful things to him. One, another kid was just jealous of him. And another example, kids were just bullying him. They were just being cruel. But both times they tried to set him up as looking like somebody who really didn't love Jesus, because he was so in love with God, right? And so they wanted to destroy his reputation. And he was so patient with them. And so when it all came out that they had done that, he just forgave them. He just forgave them. It's like, I wish I could do that, right? He just forgave them. Okay, so not to harbor resentments. The last one is, so St. Ita says, of the 3 things that are most displeasing to God. So, okay, so the first was to have a mouth that hates people, okay? The second was to have a heart that harbors resentments. The third is to place our confidence in wealth. You could say wealth, money, material things. You know, when I hear this, I have to go to confession. This is really one of my huge weaknesses. I continually put trust in things, or sometimes even in people, when I really should be putting it in God. And I usually learn that later on. But the temptation to not first put it in God, put our confidence first in God. So think of the things that cause you anxiety, the things that you stress out over, right? Well, you're going to be tempted to put your trust, the solution, into things like escaping stress. You know what people do in Marysville to escape stress? They go to the casino. It's right there, right? Or they do other things. But to develop the practice of saying, okay, I got to put this first in God's hands. Now, one of the ways you do that is you have a good daily prayer life. You come into the church. You just have that routine so that when things come up, you already have the practice of giving it to Jesus rather than trying to put it in money or rich things or whatever. Okay? All right. One last thought in the book on Padre Pio. Padre Pio, when he was 15 years old, had a vision. And in this vision, he saw this really, really dark, sinister shadow, right? And on the other side was this man dressed in this brilliant white. And in this moment, the man who's dressed in white says to him, if you do not want Satan in your life, you have to fight. You can't just expect him to leave. You have to fight him, okay? And so I was thinking of like David and Goliath. At some point, you know, David's looking at everybody and everybody's like, well, I don't want to fight him, right? And so he just says, I'll do it. I think that's, you know, part of this is just saying at some point when Satan is working on our life, we just have to fight him. He's not going to go away on his own. All right. Okay. Thank you all for joining me. I'm now going to say all of this in Spanish, so God bless you. All right. Tomorrow, when I try to do it, I am on the ferry, and I may not be able to do it right at noon, just to let you know. Okay. All right. Muchos bienvenidos a todos ustedes aquí. So este es la segunda parte de mi reflexión. Ayer estoy hablando de Santa Ita. Right? Santa Ita era una mujer en Irlanda hace muchos años y ella tiene una comunidad de mujeres y su trabajo de esta comunidad es tener una escuela por muchachos. Y durante ese tiempo hay una historia de un muchacho cuando está hablando con Santa Ita, dice, Santa Ita, ¿cuáles las cosas que Dios le gusta mucho? So, este es mi reflexión ayer, ¿sí? Hoy es la segunda parte de esta pregunta. Este muchacho, cuando está hablando con Santa Ita, dice, ¿cuáles las cosas que Dios no le gusta, no es bueno? Santa Ita dice 3 cosas. La primera cosa es tener una boca que odia a la gente, odia a personas. Now, ¿es la problema la boca? No, no es la lengua, no es de dientes, no es la problema. La problema es cuando las palabras son muy malas, llenas de odio, ¿sí? Cuando estas es la cosa, este es la problema. No, ¿es la problema en realidad las palabras? No exactamente. Es la mente. Es la mente porque estas palabras empiezan en la mente como pensamientos. So, el problema es cuando tenemos pensamientos que están llenos de odio. ¿Por qué tenemos odio? Orgullo. Estoy muy orgulloso, ¿sí? Estoy muy soberbia. Tengo mucha soberbia, ¿sí? Este es el problema. So, no es exactamente solamente palabras. No, a veces en confesión, personas dicen, Padre, tengo muchos pensamientos malos contra otras personas, juicio de todas personas. pero no digo nada. Sí, ok, muy bien, pero cuando tenemos este pensamiento, no vamos a decir buenas cosas también. Porque estoy mirando a esta persona hace algo no me gusta, entonces no voy a decir algo mal, pero no voy a decir algo bueno también, ¿sí? Entonces, el problema es cuando nuestra boca está produciendo malas cosas, ¿sí? Porque mucho mal en el mundo es porque las palabras, pero también empieza como una semilla en la mente. Entonces necesitamos quitar cuando es una semilla en nuestra mente, de malos pensamientos, ¿sí? Ok, por ella, lo primero es mucho mal en el mundo produce en la boca, es palabras, ¿sí? Pero recordamos, empieza como pensamientos, ¿ok? Especialmente por personas como yo, que muchas veces está mirando a otras personas como un juez, como juicio, y no con amor, ¿ok? All right. La segunda cosa, Santa Ida dice que Dios no le gusta un corazón que es una, ¿cómo se dice en español? Lugar. ¿Cuál es el lugar cuando pone sus barcas? No cuando está en el mar, pero cuando está muy cerca de tierra, pone sus barcas aquí, the puerta, no sé. Um, pero ella dice, cuando su corazón es como este lugar por barcas, pero está llena de resentimientos. Está llena de resentimientos, ¿ok? Mi corazón es un hogar de resentimientos. Este es muy mal porque no podemos otra vez tener mucho amor por otros. A veces en confesión, cuando estoy hablando con personas y ellos están diciendo que cuando mira noticias en la tele y no le gusta las ideas de personas, de gobierno, de otras personas, de políticos. Mi pregunta es, ¿tú tienes amor por estas personas? Y dice, no, ¿sí? Este es mal, porque tenemos mal ideas en nuestro corazón permanente. O sea, siempre está allá. Sí, no, este no es bueno, right? Um, Este es una continuación de primera cosa, no decir malas cosas. ¿Sí? ¿Cómo se dice en español? Chisme. Cuando está hablando de otras personas, ¿sí? Muchas veces la razón que estamos hablando malas cosas de otras personas es porque tenemos resentimientos de estas personas. Entonces quiere compartir estas cosas con otras personas. Porque, hay muchas razones, sí. Ok. Ejemplos. Hoy, en la misa hoy, la primera lectura es la lectura cuando Esteban está predicando, San Esteban, y Saúl, en el futuro él es San Pablo, pero Saúl está allá escuchando como juez, ¿sí? Y la gente está matando a San Esteban. Pero la cosa que es muy bonito es San Esteban está diciendo, Dios, perdona a estas personas. Perdona porque ellos no saben. Ellos no saben que este mensaje es la mensaje de vida. Él inmediatamente tiene perdón por ellos. No, en mi opinión, probablemente él antes estaba preparando porque él recuerde Jesucristo. Cuando Jesucristo está en la cruz, Jesucristo dice, Dios, Padre, perdona a estas personas. Perdona a estas personas por estas ideas, estos pensamientos, por estas acciones. perdona a ellos. Su corazón está lleno de voluntad de Dios, ¿sí? San Esteban es lo mismo. San Esteban está pensando, si necesito en el futuro ofrecer perdón a las personas que está, I say persecuting, I don't know how you say it, personas que quiere matarme, ¿sí? Voy a preparar por esta idea, este deseo, ofrecer perdón. Así cuando es real, está listo, ¿sí? Podemos hacerlo esto. Sabemos en el futuro hay personas que va a tener malas palabras con nosotros, personas que tiene racismo o estas cosas, estas malas cosas. Preparamos ahora. Sí, Dios, ayúdame a decir, lo siento, ayúdame a decir, Dios perdone a esta persona, porque ellos no saben sus acciones o sus palabras, ¿sí? Preparamos ahora, no tenemos resentimientos en el futuro, pero podemos ofrecer perdón. Estoy leyendo un libro en Padre Pío, San Pío, y cuando él era un joven, hay dos historias de otros muchachos, otros jóvenes, está haciendo cosas contra él, porque todos los jóvenes conocen, él tiene una fe muy fuerte por un niño, muy fuerte, y un otro niño estaba muy celoso, él dice algo muy mal contra él, destruye su reputación, de pensamientos de otros de él, y él inmediatamente tiene perdón. Inmediatamente. Y una otra historia cuando otros niños estaban bullying a él, y inmediatamente él tiene perdón. Es fruto de su fe, de su amor por Dios. ¿Ok? No resentimientos. Ok. La tercera cosa de Santa Ita que a Dios no le gusta es cuando ponemos nuestra confianza en dinero o en otras cosas, en las cosas, pero no podemos esto en Dios. No, cuando una persona está rezando cada día, sus oraciones diarias es muy fuerte, está viniendo a la iglesia cada día para hablar con Jesucristo por 5 minutos, 10 minutos, 30 minutos. Cada día está hablando de Dios. Esta persona puede poner su confianza en Dios más fácil, ¿sí? Pero por una persona que reza solamente cuando hay malas cosas o dificultades, es una tentación poner su confianza inmediatamente en sus propias habilidades, en dinero, en otras personas, pero no en Dios. Es después es like, oh, ok, necesito poner mi confianza en Dios. Preparamos ahora con una oración, ok, voy a poner mi confianza en Dios primero. Y con voluntad de Dios, Dios va a enseñar cuáles son las cosas que necesitamos, ¿sí? Una otra persona va a hablar con esa persona es bueno, ¿sí? O puede hacer esto. Pero primero es Dios. ¿Ok? Empezando lloviendo. Just una cosa más. En el libro de San Pío, cuando él tuvo 15 años, él es un joven, él tiene una visión, un sueño. En ese sueño hay una criatura muy mal, muy oscuro, ¿sí? En otro lado es un hombre, está llena de luz. En esta visión, el hombre que está lleno de luz dice, si no quiere Satanás en su vida, necesita pelear, porque Satanás no va a salir en su propia voluntad, no, necesita pelear contra Satanás. So, así cuando Satanás está presente, cuando Él está viviendo en nuestro corazón o ofreciendo tentaciones, Dios dice, necesita pelear contra Él. ¿Ok? All right, all right. Muchas gracias por su presencia. Mañana es posibilidad, este video es tarde porque necesito ir a la ferry. Pero voy a tratar a las 12. ¿Ok? Hasta mañana. Adiós.